Morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. It's Friday. It's not particularly vibey as far as Fridays go. But we're going to be speaking about the takeover of Manchester United, or, the not takeover of Manchester United. The latest reports from Matt Lawton from the Times on the Qatari bid, on him reporting that they will not be increasing on the $5 billion offer they've already put in. And we'll be running through everything that's being said around that. Not really much has happened in I don't know, 3? Maybe 4 months now. Well, I don't actually know really on a takeover, but I'm going to cover the news as I do every single day here, Monday to Friday. We're also going to then focus on the Brentford game tomorrow. It's the international break after. And look, the international break, well, let's be honest, most of them are ridiculously awful and boring. But for United right now, a little break from football might not be the worst thing in the world. So I'm going to speak about the Brentford game, my starting 11, which I released yesterday. Some team news, little conversation we'll have about Andrew and Onana a little bit later in the show. You can let me know what you think. You'll fire in your comments, as you always do. And who's here from the member gang? Let's have a quick look. Alex, good morning to you. We've got Kieran. We've got Off-Key Adams, Kenny. We've got Mosin. Good morning to you. Klein, Bully, Donneil, Matt, how you doing? Natasha, you're there. C. Billington. We've got DJ Dino, Chris Dyke, Rob. Josh, you're back in town. How you doing? Paula, you're there as well. Lone Wolf, who's on Facebook? And you're there as well, of course. Not a bad way. James Williams, good morning to you. David Peter. We've got Dixon Abu, Ben Mogi, Kazim Kola. Good morning to all of you. It's been a rough start to the season. It's been a rough couple of weeks here, really. But look, we're still here. We're still live and direct every single Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. There's one difference in the studio today. What is it? First one down there doesn't get a prize, but there's one difference. Let me see if you notice it. You should notice it. I think so anyway. Look at that, man. To kick off. I tell you what, David, you've inspired me. David gifting 5 memberships down there to the best community in the world. So I'm going to join in. Right. Big up to you, David. There's 5. There's 5 from me. Everyone's saying it's Eric. I've had a shave. I did have a shave. Yeah. So much better after I shave. It's nothing to do with the plants. Cantona. Geez, I thought you all watched. YouTube plaque. No gong. Box shelves have got. You're all terrible. There was a bloody massive sofa there. Oh, yeah, I did actually knock the YouTube plaque down. My bad. There was a huge sofa there. God, none of you care. None of you care. No, you do care. But yeah, there was a big old sofa there. And I'll tell you why that's exciting, right? It's this. From Monday. Shall I pull it down now? No, I won't put it down now. But from Monday, we're going to be switching to a green screen. And I'll tell you why we're switching to a green screen. It is because from Monday, I'm finally going to be building the new studio. So there's going to be a green screen that gets pulled down. You won't see it. In fact, I'll show you what it's going to be like. There you go. Look at that. Let me see if this works now, actually. No, I won't do it now. But anyway, this is going to be the studio for a week next week. And then at the end of that week, hopefully, I'll be able to do this and reveal the new studio. That's the plan. I've had it in my mind for a good while, actually. But yeah, next week, we're going to go old school. We're going to go back to the green screen. For some reason, I haven't used that yet. I don't know why I haven't. I'll be honest. I paid good money for it. I've got it installed. I've set it up. And I've never used the green screen once. But anyway, that whole studio is going to get... It's going to look so good. I can't wait. I've been planning this for a hell of a long time. And it's going to be a ridiculous level up on what we've got here. All right? So that's some good news. That's some positive news. So all the... Yeah, Bishal, I'll reveal it live. I'll do the old green screen. It's going to look cool. But anyway, that was the start of the show. So all the gifts you keep giving for the community, all the support for the channel, I keep telling everyone I reinvest it back into it. It's going to be a series. It's quite an expensive studio, but it's cool. That's what you reinvest. You make it bigger and better, and that's what we're doing together. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with the show. I'm excited about it. Right. What am I not excited about? Oh yeah, let's talk about this then. Oh, look at that man as well. Ricky, you lads, you just gifted 5 memberships too. Jeez. I don't know why for some reason I'm feeling chipper today. You know, given how crap it's been. Wow. I suppose all season long, really. But in these last few games have been particularly brutal. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just feeling a bit chipper. But you know, one thing that's sad. I don't know what to describe. I dislike it wholeheartedly. I just hate the way that modern football is going. Right? Saudi Arabia are going to be chasing the world's elite players in support of their 2034 World Cup bid. So reports all came out yesterday. It looks like Saudi Arabia, as it stands, currently have an uncontested run towards the 2034 World Cup. I think Australia can get involved, or I think it's Asia Oceanica. I think it has to be in one of those continents. So this whole Saudi thing that's happened this summer, like them spending huge amounts of money. I think they must have been like the second biggest spenders, right? They're not going anywhere. They're planning on having a World Cup in Saudi Arabia in 9 years' time. So Newcastle are going to get used as a pawn to promote the Saudi World Cup. Any player who's gone out there to Saudi, I think Jordan Henderson's already been doing sort of promotional videos on it. It's the way that football has gone, and I dislike it. I hate it, in fact. And I shrug my shoulders. I don't really know what you can do, if I'm being totally honest. But it's not going away anytime soon, I think is the point I'm trying to make. And it's not a case of just accept it and go, well, that's football. It's just like, just be aware of it. Like, the Saudi Arabia League is only going to get bigger and better. The players that go there are only going to get bigger and better. It's only going to get worse, really. There was a super chat here. Go straight from the positive of the studio getting rebuilt to, that negative there. Salt, how you doing, buddy? What are you saying? You think what happened to Anthony Sancho and the fact that Hay has left has affected other players behind the scenes? They all seem tight-knit. I mean, I really wouldn't describe Manchester United as tight-knit. I mean, for a long time. Like last season, I had it up on here, actually. Is it here? Can you remember last season in February? Like, cast your minds back. Cast your minds back to before the League Cup final and the build-up to it, and our games against I think Barcelona was that month as well. Like, look at that Premier League table. With 3 points behind City after 24 games. Right? That was last season. That was in Erik ten Hag's first season in charge. And I know people are going to be quick to focus on the now, because you have to stay in the present, right? You can't look to what's happened previously, otherwise you'd be in Nostalgia FC. I forgot how close it was. I remember the conversations we used to have on the podcast and here on the live streams. Like, oh, United in a title race? And everyone's like, well, no, not really. But I forgot how good we were in the build-up and leading up to that League Cup final. And then when the League Cup final happened, our season just drifted, didn't it? Massively, massively drifted. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting one. But yeah, this Saudi League is not... You know how people said, the Saudi Arabia League is just going to be like the new Chinese Super League? Hell no. This is going absolutely nowhere. Going absolutely nowhere. It's only going to get bigger, and that's going to be a bad thing, I think. But when it comes to the takeover of Manchester United, of course, we are coming on to 11 months now, I think. 11 months since the Strategic Investment Alternatives statement came out. No takeover. No real movement on a takeover, apart from 2 bidders emerging and bids going in. That's kind of all that's happened. Now, this week was the news reports that came out that Jim Ratcliffe had offered the Glazers a 25% minority takeover, buying in equal measure the Class A shares and the Class B shares, therefore getting around the legal ramifications of just trying to buy the Glazers shares, because they couldn't do that, because it would have undervalued those Class A shares completely. And United fans are angry. I'm angry. The idea that Jim Ratcliffe, for his own, well, INEOS, Jim Ratcliffe, INEOS, I kind of put them in the same thing, right? They're putting their own desires to have Manchester United by any means necessary ahead of the correct concept that we need to get out. We need to get the Glazers out of this club and out of control of this club as soon as possible. And then, of course, a lot of people were still looking towards the Qataris and hoping that it happens. Right. And I've said my dues on my fears of a Qatari bid. Right. And what that means for Manchester United and the direction that Manchester United, as a football club, as a community institution, as a worldwide institution, could then become the tool for something else. And I don't like it. I do not like it. And I don't have to explain that anymore. It's just part of modern football. And I don't like it. But reports from Matt Lawton from the Times here speaking about the bid. Now, I'm going to run through this article, then we're going to speak about it in the comments as a community. Matt Lawton and the Times, what I would have to say here this whole way through, it's when it's getting kind of political, is because certain papers will write certain angles and certain takeover bids. It's just kind of what happens with politics, like left-wing and right-wing politics, right? Matt Lawton and the Times, they've been pretty pro INEOS, I would say. Not just with regards to the takeover bid, but just in how they've been reporting anything. Alex, and this is why I'm a little bit skeptical. It's kind of why I said Qatari takeover latest rather than the full headline, because, yeah, this is only coming from Matt Lawson at this moment in time. Nothing from Mike Keegan, nothing from, of course, David Ornstein, who's kind of been quiet on this whole situation, isn't he? David Ornstein. Nothing from Fabrizio, nothing from The Athletic. It's only coming from Matt Lawton. And I'm going to read through this and then we're going to speak about it as a community. He says the Qatari group bidding for Manchester United will not increase their existing offer of $5 billion, despite the threat posed by a new deal being tabled by Jim Ratcliffe. Sources close to the Qatari group, led by Sheikh Jassim, say that news of Ratcliffe's restructured bid amounts to another pressure tactic to make them increase their bid. While the Glazers value United at about $6 billion, the Qataris remain convinced their price is too high, because it is, and are standing by their offer of $5 billion for 100% purchase because of everything that needs to come on top of it. Now, Robert, you just asked there, what's anything happening lately from Ben Jacobs? Man, Ben Jacobs. We did so many great interviews on here. I advised him. I didn't advise him. I was just like, I'd stay away from the United stand if I was you. And he decided not to. And unfortunately, his credibility has gone a bit south since. Maybe I'll speak to Ben again in the future when it feels like there's a genuine shift in direction on this. But this feels like the latest. My interpretation of this news. You can let me know what you think in the comments, right? My interpretation of this news is it's the latest hand in the game of poker. I don't feel like much has changed there. I don't think that Sheikh Jassim is going to increase his bid. And nor do I think he should, honestly. And I'm saying this as a United fan that desperately wants the Glazers out of control of our club. I think a $5 billion valuation of Manchester United is completely fair in the market and the value of our club. Add in the fact that on top of that $5 billion, they have to spend $1 billion to clear the debt. And then they have to buy a new stadium. And then they have to buy a new training ground. And then they have to invest in the team. Like, it's just 5 billion doesn't even scratch the surface of what Manchester United will cost the new owners. And that's why I think that a 5 billion bid for the 100% ownership of the club is a very fair reflection. Now, the Glazers don't work fair. The Glazers don't even work logically. It's a complete minefield. The thing I said this week about the idea of the 25% takeover, I said my hope for that would be that the other 4 Glazers kicked off just as much as Joel and Avram have kicked off thus far with blocking this bid, saying this is not enough money. Because the Jim Ratcliffe valuation, if he buys 25% and it's 1.5 billion, you can do the maths. That, of course, puts the valuation of Manchester United overall at 6 billion. If he buys 25% 1.5, which is, of course, a billion more than Sheikh Jassim. Difference is Sheikh Jassim is paying in cash overnight. Sod knows. I mean, there's not even any guarantee whatsoever that Jim Ratcliffe then follows through on that 25% to then outright purchase Manchester United. Now, logic would kind of hint towards that being the case. And if you look at the takeover of Manchester United by the Glazers, it was a staggered takeover. Buying up shares, and it was, of course, Rock of Gibraltar, Fergie falling out with Magnier. Was it Magnier and McManus? And then they sold their shares to the Glazers. They then had the threshold. They then bought Manchester United. The Glazers bought Manchester United by one, buying out all the shareholders. Right? Jim Ratcliffe could feasibly do that. Okay? Could feasibly do that. But it's different. And it's different because there's no point in him going and buying out Lindsell. So Lindsell Train is like a US hedge fund. They own like 15% of Manchester United, but they're Class A shares. So therefore, there's no voting rights. So there's no point Jim Ratcliffe buying those shares up. They won't get him any control. The only way that he buys Manchester United is if he buys the Glazers out. And I don't think, I might be wrong here, but I don't think that any Glazer can sell their shares to anybody that's not a Glazer without strict permission from the rest of the Glazers. So it's so linked to that family. So it's not like going and buying shares from Magnier and McManus. He literally has got to come for the Glazers. I don't see where the solution comes here. We are in the exact same place with the takeover as we were 3 months ago. I would say 3 months ago. I don't really know what's changed. In fact, I do know what's changed. Absolutely nothing. And I just don't really know what goes on next. And we go down here. I think I might have missed some absolute icons in the comments. 1 second there. It is Alex and Chris. Jeez. Man, everyone's feeling... It's nice to see a little bit. Double gong. Don't know. Honestly, I have no idea why I'm feeling chipper today. I really have no right to feel chipper. United are playing absolutely garbage. We're here talking about the fact that Sheikh Jassim's not going to come in randomly and go, you know what, lads? Yeah, here's another billion. You know how much money a billion is? It's like 9 zeros. That's so much money. It's not going to happen. Not for the fact that we've got to clear the debt on top of it and buy the new stadium and the new training ground. Investment for infrastructure is somewhere in the region of £1 to £2 billion. And that's not an over-exaggeration. It's just when you haven't updated something like Old Trafford or Carrington and you are a top 3 club in the world, then it's going to be expensive. Maybe it is because it's Map Day. Map Day a little bit later on. But yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could come here with massive, massive movement and news. The latest is that Sheikh Jassim isn't going to increase his bid. And I'd be very surprised if he did. So we still find ourselves at that impasse. But I'm telling you, what it feels like to me is that up until this point, it's been Joel and Avram Glazer blocking the Qatari takeover. But if they now want to push and try and get the other Glazer siblings to accept a 25% minority takeover from Ratcliffe, then those other siblings are going to go from earning £800 million each. By the way, that's how much Man United was bought for. And now here we are, where every single Glazer, after all everything they've done, after all the north of £1 billion that's left on interest-free payments, they could all feasibly make as much money by selling United individually as the Glazers paid for us originally. It's so sick. It really, really is so sick. But I think now that the other Glazers are going to kick back in the same way that Joel and Avram have. Because they're going to be like, well, hold on. So you don't want to accept a Qatari takeover bid where we get 800 million each. And instead, you want us to say, yeah, all right. And we sell collectively 25% of our shares. I don't need to say, what would that 25%? If it's 25%, it's 1.5 billion, and that's split between, I can't do the maths in my head straight away. But if it's 1.5 billion and it's split between the shares that are available on the open market, so what's 120? No, 1 point. Try and figure this out. It'll be sort of 1.5 bill divided by, so the 6 Glazers plus the stock exchange. Yeah. It would roughly mean somewhere in the region of 200 million-ish, right? If that happens. If Jim Ratcliffe goes ahead with a 1.5 billion for 25%, that's split between 6 Glazers and the New York Stock Exchange. So that's 7 different parties. So they'll all get around about 200 million. Whereas the other Glazers are going to be like, we can get 800 million if we sell to the Qataris right now. I mean, you can tell which one. I don't think this finishes. I think this just, I think the people kicking back now are going to change. It's going to be the other Glazers digging in. That's what my spidey sense is the same. Now, something that quite a few of you are mentioning down here in the comments, and I think it's a fair thing to mention. Let me pull this up now. All right. So, you know full well what I think about what the 1958 have done for the club. And I think it's a good thing. There's going to be so many people that they go, oh, would you protest the crowd? Why don't you empty the stadium? Why don't you do this, do that? And it's just like, why don't you stop with your negative energy and actually get involved in helping someone? Apart from pointing the finger, it's, you should do something better. Right, I'm going to go and do nothing now, which is what so many people do. The 1958, what they're doing here is calling for, let's pull this up here. There. They're asking that the members of the fans forum, which are representative of fans, okay, and representatives in the fans advisory board, which I think was brought in post Super League, and it's just done nothing. They're asking for those members to boycott the communication with the club, which I do think is actually a good move. Now, there's something that I want to do, and maybe some of you can help me do this, because it's going to take a lot of work, and I have to make sure I do it right if I do it. I'm thinking about doing a video next week on basically an investigation into the ticket reselling at Manchester United, because there's quite a few obvious dots that you can connect between the club overselling a normal ticket with the perk of museum being added onto it. There's clear evidence of basically Manchester United being the touts and profiting from fans themselves, which is a huge, in my opinion, a huge story that I think needs to be covered. So if anyone wants to get involved in this, slide into my DMs, because this is going to require some seriously, like, genuine bit of investigative journalism. And it's the sort of thing I think needs to be spoken about. And if it's proven correct and brought to this, brought to the surface, it's really, really a bad look for the Glazers. Therefore, it's something that we should all have energy in doing. Tyler, isn't that every business and every club? I don't give a toss about every business or every club, Tyler. I care about what's happening in Manchester United. And I'm seeing our club sell tickets for Copenhagen for 175 quid. Bang average normal tickets for 175 quid with access to the museum post-match. Oh, what a perk. The club are profiting and prioritizing those profits of big hospitality sales ahead of fans. And that is touting, right? And if you can prove that with a really good trail of evidence, look, Alex, you're saying you get Andy Mitten and Laurie Whitwell on it. I imagine the Athletic are doing it already. I'd love to do something ourselves because I think that's the sort of thing I'm not sure any other channel would do. And it's the sort of thing I think is really quite important. But it would be, it's going to be quite a lot of work. And I have to get it right because if I didn't get that right, I don't know. Nothing would happen really. But they would maybe be happy. So I want to make sure I get it right. Anyway, 25 minutes into the show. Can we have another 25 minutes now? I'll read a few of your comments out before we speak about the Brentford game. Carl, you're saying that block of seats you highlighted in the last video have been... Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Carl, I need to go back and try and find the beginning of the trail. I know this has been happening at United for quite a while, actually. It's not something that's only happened these last couple of games. I think United have been doing this for a fair amount of time, and I need to find out when it started. I need to find out those people who have bought those tickets, how they've managed to buy those tickets. How did so many Galatasaray fans manage to get those tickets? United are pointing the fingers at season ticket holders, which is bullshit, and also at UEFA, which might be part of it. But I think it seems like there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And I don't think it's good. Well, reflective of, it's not good for the club. Because, lo and behold, the club behind the scenes is absolutely rotten. Rotten. Honestly, I feel sorry for a lot of people working for United right now. There must be some whistleblowers there ready to just like unleash the double barrel. Maybe I just need to find them. Right. Let's talk about this. Okay. Let's talk about the Brentford game. Because boy, oh boy, do we need a win. We need a win. Now, that team right there isn't actually exactly the team that I would put out. And I'll explain it in a little bit. It's close enough, but a slight different tweak. What changes do you think we need to see against Brentford? Because we can't just go into this game with the exact same tactics and approach as the last few games because it ain't working. It's not working. And I think it would be madness to do it. You know, something that happened yesterday, and I'll be honest, given the fact that it was it Delo and Bruno, I think he was up against. I suppose it's not too much of a surprise that Casemiro won Player of the Month, but I had to look at that, and I was like, I had to do a double take. That Casemiro won our Player of the Month. Yeah, he banged in some goals, but my word, he has basically he's just not been a midfielder. I couldn't believe that he was named Player of the Month, but I suppose it's kind of really indicative of how poor United have been this month, right? Because if there's one thing I'm going to be fuming if one of two things happens against Brentford. Number one, we concede within 10 minutes of scoring. 5 minutes of scoring. Stop it. I'll be kinder. 5 minutes of scoring. That just can't happen. And the second thing I'm going to be so angry about is if we concede a goal like this, right? The tracking of our midfielders from a transitional perspective, they're so excited going forward. It's like you've got loads of energy going forward, but then as soon as it goes, they're overcommitted. They're overcommitted going forward, and they haven't got the legs to run back. And Casemiro, unfortunately, in that exact environment, is the player getting exposed the most. Casemiro has got to have positional discipline. And this is the formation that I want to see against Brentford. Yep, there are some changes. Yep, it's not how I want Manchester United to line up under Erik ten Hag in the long term. But this isn't a long-term thing, right? This is a short-term... The way I described it yesterday on the preview video, I was like, like if you've got like flood water just bursting in your front door, doesn't matter how you stop it coming in, you stop it coming in. And that's what Man United are doing right now, like crisis management. And that's why I've switched here to a really quite a defensive formation. And probably the biggest and most important change is this: a double pivot in midfield, right? We've been playing with one midfielder all season and two number 8s. And I'm absolutely convinced that that's where Ten Hag will take this team once everybody's fit and available. But no, they're not fit and available. Casemiro, I don't want to see Casemiro leave like this area of the pitch, right? I don't want to see him go any further forward than that the entire game. I want his heat map to be stuck in that central position. Ten Hag has got to put him to the side and say, hold your position. He's got to protect our two centre-backs. There's going to be people that naturally are going to be screaming about Harry Maguire. But honestly, if you play a deeper formation, and that's what this is, it's about really nice, compact, deep line there. And then you've got one, well, you can't see it here. One, well, I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go away. And then you've got Haaland up here on his own. Now, you could probably conceivably, I can see quite a few in the comments saying this, and this may well happen, right? This may well happen. But I thought Mason Mount's actually been pretty good in the middle so far. And actually, now that I've just done that, of course this would happen. The reason I'm saying that is because Mason Mount would then be able to double up and help with Lindelof. This game is not about sexy football. It's not about scoring glorious goals. This game is about being defensively sound, defensively solid, because we know full well, we've seen it, right? Because the conversation now has, where is it? Is it that? That's not it. That one there? There he is. The conversation has changed around Rasmus Haaland, right? Rasmus Haaland has proven that he can score goals, that he can be that focal point now. So the conversation is not a case of, oh, you know, it'd be nice if Haaland could work. The dude is scoring in the Champions League for sure. Someone down there saying no Anthony on the right-hand side. I don't think you can take Mason Mount out of this team after these last couple of games. I think he's actually got a bit of momentum, right? You could see Anthony on that right-hand side, but I think Anthony's a good sub. Anthony and Garnacho are two fantastic subs, right? Rashford, I mentioned in the video, does Garnacho get any sort of paternity leave? Like his missus has just given birth, yesterday? I don't know. Maybe it won't affect him. But it just, look, you can go down there, Delo's a liability, this, right, that. We've got nobody else to play in defence. None. Nada. Do I want Lindelof playing right back? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And here we go, right, Clive. And this is going to be what's happened, what's written in the media. It's like, do you write for TalkSport or are you a United fan? Like, come on, dude. United are in the dumps right now. It's crisis management. Oh yeah, let's go against Brentford. Let's go 3 up. Let's go nice 4-3-3, really expansive. Let's dominate them at Old. It's not worked. Chaos. It's been pure chaos. If you can't see that this is needed, then all right, fair enough. But you're in hiding for nothing. Ten Hag has got to get this team, and we did it against Burnley, but Burnley was ugly. I'm not saying that we should do that, but I want us to be compact. That's the big thing. Compactness means that these spaces are small, right? The space between the defense and the midfield has to be compact. You can't see a defense sitting really low like that and the midfield sitting there, because all of a sudden you create this huge amount of space that Brentford players can go into. And if they do that, if a Brentford player, say, drops into there and they're right in the middle, then you've got Amrabat going, do I cover him? And Maguire going, do I cover him? And you've got two players who are half confused as to whether they should go forward or not. And you get spaces exploited. United have got to make sure those spaces don't exist. And the easiest way to do that, just stay compact as a team. All right? Don't leave huge spaces in behind. In fact, you can leave spaces in behind. But yeah, I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments. Jonathan, you're saying Ajax was never compact. I don't care about Ajax. You don't see this team ever being compact. We have been compact. We were compact against Burnley. We were compact last year against Leicester, 1-0. We were compact last year against Southampton, 1-0. We conceded how many goals? I don't know how many goals we conceded in the league last year, because it wasn't that many. We've got the most clean sheets. This team can and has been compact so often last season. So don't try and suggest that we haven't, because there's so much evidence that shows that we have. It's just that Ten Hag this season came into the season with a concept of making United far more proactive. And it hasn't worked. Has not worked so far. Injuries haven't helped. Signings that we've made really haven't helped so far. Amrabat's been playing left back. Just be smart in this game, right? Be responsible. Cover the spaces. Work as a team. Do the basics. Right? Yeah, Robert, you're saying the biggest issue was always score. Last season, the biggest issue was scoring. We were creating chances left, right, and centre. You think, right, okay, I reckon if we just sign a ball-playing goalkeeper, a top-class centre forward, and like a possession-based central midfielder, I reckon this team's got it. And this summer, we went out and we signed Onana, who's a ball-playing goalkeeper, Højlund, who's proving himself as an excellent prospect as a centre forward, and Amrabat, who is a ball-playing central midfielder, and we are 10 times worse. Injuries have not helped that, but we have certainly gone backwards when we thought we were going forwards with the teams. That's why this international break, I think, can help us, right? We've got a game here against Brentford. Just win it. Any means necessary, win it. And then we've got 2 weeks to sort of let the anger dissipate a little bit. Reguilon. Hey, look, Reguilon might be fit for this game. I don't know whether he's going to be, but if Reguilon's fit, then we'll all feel a little bit more confident, won't we? We'll actually have a proper left back and a proper right back. The defense will feel a little bit more secure. I think I probably would still start Maguire. Let's see. United have got to just let Brentford have a little bit more of the ball in this game. Just hold your shape. And that's something else I want to see less of in this game is man marking. Like everybody, we seem to have operated a man marking philosophy? Don't know. Tactic in these last few games. That's when like Amrabat did it against Galatasaray. Really aggressively went to mark his man, left the space in behind, game over. Goal scored. Stay in your shape, stay in your lanes, do zonal marking. Hey, look, I don't know what Ten Hag's going to do. I've got no idea. But I know that we can't just go in here in this game with the exact same philosophy and tactics as these last few games because it's nay worked. Let's see what you're saying down here in the comments. And you're saying we don't need width at the weekend. I think that's kind of a fair point. And I suppose if you're looking at the team that I put out there, I think I'd tend to agree with you because I've got Mason Mount and Rashford. Rashford loves to cut inside. Mason Mount, he's going to cut inside as a winger. Lindelof's not going to be offering anything on the overlap. And Delo is likely to tuck inside as well. But if you're playing in these positions, you've got Højlund. You can get that ball in behind and he can help and bring others in. We don't necessarily need width. But it depends how Brentford set up, because Brentford might set up to squeeze the space out of the middle and force the ball wide, which is what Brighton did against us. It's what quite a few teams do against us if they stop us playing through the middle. Let's find out. Flash Fly Fletch, I disagree with the counter-attacking football. These players should not need to reset like that. Would the top teams change their philosophy after a bad few games? Dude, it's not a bad few games. It's Man United, it's not working. With the current players that we have available, Ten Hag's system is ineffective. Therefore, we do need to switch. We do need crisis management until the players come back. Because trust me, trust me, trust what you want. But I think that when United have Martinez back and fully fit, and Luke Shaw back and fully fit, and Amrabat is playing in central defensive midfield, fully fit, all of a sudden, they're shiny demon. All of a sudden, we will look significantly better. But until that point, double pivot, stay compact, and don't be idiots. My word. Now, one player. But can I just say 1 second here? I always forget to do this. This might be the first time I've asked it this week. Can you, if you can, can you drop a like on the video? It makes a big difference. It's been a quiet week in UPTV towers. Hardly anybody tuning in. United People's TV massively reflects the mood of the fans. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with that. I would hate for United People's TV to be a channel that, when we lose, opposition fans come in and point and laugh at us. They've got other people they can do that with. No one does that on United People's TV because I don't know, I'm just not that sort of person. Taking out Ten Hag, breaking all the embarrassing records. Yeah, and he also won his first trophy in 6 years at Manchester United. There were quite a few things that he did extremely well last season, and everybody seems to be forgetting those. Get rid of Ten Hag and use his players, or you're in a great mood this morning, aren't you, Ians? Dear me. And yeah, get involved in Discord, Alex. Great idea. Now, can we just have a little conversation here? Little 5-minute conversation about Onana. Right? Onana is, I think, of all the things I could have and would have predicted this season, I think the Onana, we all knew that Onana was going to make mistakes, right? We all knew that Onana was going to struggle he needs time to settle in. But I didn't expect it to the levels that it's happened. And I don't know whether you agree with this, but you can let me know. Like, when we saw Onana out in preseason, was it Madrid he made his? I think it was Madrid he made his debut. Onana was aggressive and held quite a high position for those few games. I could go back and maybe I will do that evidence to show this, because this is just my Spidey senses. But it feels like, kind of since that goal he conceded against Lens, right? You know, when he was lobbed from like 40 yards. It feels like either Onana himself has gone, I need to step back a little bit. I don't want that to happen again. Or Manchester United are saying to Onana, just hold a slightly deeper position. Because it feels like one of those two things has happened. Because that's kind of a big thing that I expected of Onana, for his average position to be like on the edge of his own box. And it just feels like the confidence is gone. And like that, the goals that he conceded against Forest and the goal that he conceded against Galatasaray, where he was kind of really rooted. He was frozen in both of those situations, rather than coming out trying to force it on the attacker, trying to cut the angles. He didn't really do much, and then he kind of ended up falling over. I don't know whether that's coming from Onana himself upstairs, or whether that is the coaches encouraging him to stay a little bit deeper to, cover those spaces. But either way, Onana's got sorted. And look, I don't think Onana gets dropped this weekend, nor do I think he should. Would I expect my manager to take out Onana after 10 games as Manchester United manager? No, I do not think that is the right thing to do. He's experienced enough that he needs to get through this. And there is no, in my opinion, there is no chance that Erik ten Hag drops him for this game. I think if he was going to play by India, I think he would have done that in the League Cup game against Palace. I was kind of surprised that he didn't do that. I have to be honest. I thought that was like the perfect game to play him in, and given the fact that it was kind of an easy, comfortable 3-0, 5-0 win. 3-0? Not 5-0. John's just gifted 5 memberships, so I'm just getting 5-0. Imagine 5-0 happens this weekend. I know it's never going to happen, but every single weekend I'm like, oh, maybe it's this one. Cheers, dude. Robin, you just mentioned there about the concept of this article, which I was going to bring up now. Reports from Rob Dawson yesterday suggesting that Onana's sort of reluctant to play in the... Basically, that Onana's going to is going to turn down the opportunity to play for Cameroon in the African Cup of Nations in January to focus on United. Now, you might say that's not really that big a deal, but I would encourage you to go and read this, right? I'm going to leave the link to this actually because it's a really good read. I remember reading it before we signed him. This is Onana's interview with the Players Tribune. And it's him basically kind of really explaining what happened in the sort of when he got banned for, I think he was taking his wife's pregnancy, some sort of pills for his wife to do with the baby. I can't remember exactly what it was. And of course, he got banned for a year, and it's his perspective on that whole story. And there's a particular part, and this is what I mean when I'm saying like this would be a seriously big deal for Onana if he did this. Is reading this little part down here about him playing for Cameroon. This is when he got his ban reduced, and therefore it meant that he could play in the African Cup of Nations for Cameroon in January, right? In Cameroon. He goes, that meant everything. You see, my dad still talks about the AFCON final in 2000 when we beat Nigeria like it was the pinnacle of all football. Nothing will ever top that moment for my family. Growing up, I didn't dream of playing at the Camp Nou or the Johan Cruyff Arena. No, I wanted to play at the Stade Amadou Ahidjo in Yaoundé, Cameroon Stadium. Cameroon for him, playing for Cameroon, is a huge deal, huge sense of pride. Now, you might say, oh, well, he's fallen out with the manager. Yeah, he's fallen out with Rigobert Song because of, I think it was a clash of styles. For him to not go to the African Cup of Nations and to focus on United would be a big deal for him. And also a massive show to United fans that he is. I've got no doubt that he's serious about. Well, he's a serious guy. I've also got no doubt, in my mind personally, that Onana shouldn't be dropped for this weekend. Okay? Onana should not be dropped for this weekend. And that's the third super chat I've read out. I've read every single one of yours, Yanks. And all three of them were a waste. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to ask you in the comments here. Do you genuinely think that Onana being dropped this weekend will help him? I'm curious to know because I'm sure there's quite a few of you down there that actually do think that is the right thing to do. Because I absolutely don't. But I'm interested to know your genuine point of view. Like, give me a reason why you think it would help him. Because I really, really don't think it would. Not at this early stage in his career at United where things have not been going correct. James, you gifted a membership there. Who was a lucky person? Carl Copley. That means you two attached to the hip now. If you're going to say yes, I'm asking you for a reason. Don't just say yes. That gives me absolutely nothing. Imagine in an interview. Oh, what did you think about that film? Yes. Okay, good. Right. Thanks for giving me something thanks for giving me something to bounce off there. You're saying Duddy won't do well if Bayindir plays well. Who cares? Says James. He shouldn't be near the pitch right now. John, this is again. People don't like mitigating factors. Onana's not used to facing as many shots as he's faced this year. That's one thing for sure. And you're saying it will destroy sort of his confidence as it stands if he was to be taken out of the team. And look, this is why I'd be surprised if I think Casemiro, Rashford, and Onana will all start this weekend. I think Onana should start. I think Rashford, given that he got the assists at the weekend, let's see what goes on. But if Rashford's not doing any for 50, 55 minutes, then he comes off for Garnacho. All right. Don't keep him on until the 80th minute. And Ten Hag did take him off the other day, didn't he? So he showed that he can do that. And Casemiro, I think, will be significantly better if you play him alongside Amrabat. Because in an isolated role, he's struggled in all sorts of things. Jaden, you think he needs to be out of the spotlight? He will be out of the spotlight for the next 2 weeks when there's no games. Both him and the team would benefit from him being benched. He didn't say why. Diego, now is not the time to drop him. Overall, I tell you what, I should probably have done a poll there. It's a little bit late now because I've already answered your questions. But the majority of you don't think he should be dropped, and I don't think he should be dropped. However, fix up, dude. It's all on these players, right? I know we can shout and scream about Eric Ten Hag's football this season, right? But this game against Brentford, truth be told, if these players do what they should be doing, do what they are capable of doing, we are winning this game of football. We did more than enough to win that game against Galatasaray, but our defense was abysmal. Shape was all wrong. Aggression was all wrong. Tactically, could Ten Hag have done more there? I think he could have done a little bit more. But these players themselves, Onana making that howler of a mistake. Like, geez, you're making an already difficult job more difficult. These players just do their job on Saturday. We beat Brentford, and I don't think we struggle. They've had a really poor start to the season, man. They're below us in the table. They haven't got Ivan Toney. They haven't got a number 9. They are there to be beaten if these players do their bloody job. I'll be here tomorrow, you know full well, with the match reaction. But before that, I'm thinking about doing a video this afternoon. I'm not quite sure what the topic should be. Maybe I'll do that research into the ticket stuff, because that's going to be a lot of work. Because it's going to have to be, I'm going to have to be so careful when doing that. Let's get to the map, all right? Because it's Friday. It's map day. As I said, I'm feeling chipper for some reason. I'm also feeling hot. Where's the fan? Yeah, that's better. Right. The map is up. You let me know where you're watching from, the town and the country. 3 of you from around the world, and I'll get you added onto the map. We've had UK, Germany, Eswatini. Where's that? That country. Slovenia, Denmark, Bosnia, South Africa, Nigeria, UK, Myanmar, USA, Thailand, Australia, Poland. Loads of people around the world. Let me see where you're watching from. We've got, I can't put everyone on the map. Let's have a look. We've got James watching from Belfast, Maine, USA. Let's just go Maine. Hey. Awesome. Main man is on the map. Welcome aboard, sir. What else have we got down here? I'm just going to read some out. We've got Joburg, South Africa. We've got Truro in Cornwall. We've got Newcastle, New South Wales. Crediton in England. La Rioja. Imagine that being named after a... And I know the wine is named after you, but that's pretty cool. Man, I love Spanish food. I'm trying to perfect a Turkish lunch at this moment in time. You'll all be really excited to know. Got homemade tzatziki, homemade hummus, homemade like kebab shop chili. Making all the home dips. A little bit of bulgur wheat. A little bit of parsley in my salad. Jeez. Chef Peoples. Come dine with Sam. You get some good food. Seriously, get some good food. Let's get some more down here. I'm kind of waffling. Patrick, you're watching the whole way from St. Petersburg. Well, sir, St. Petersburg is definitely going on the map. Because I don't think we've had you. Maybe we've had. St. Petersburg. Let's get one more on the map. All right. Let's go. The Galatasaray game hit you hard. Nah, man. I like Turkish food. Turkish, Persian. I think that's the cuisine I would choose. I always go between it. Like, if you had to choose one cuisine that you could only eat that cuisine for the rest of your life, what would you go for? And I think I always kind of dip in between Greek. I go Persian. I think I'll probably go Greece. Because that's like grilled meats, fresh salads, cheeses, and bread. I mean, what more could you want? What more could you want? I think so anyway. What else we got done? Let's get one more up here. Let's go for Uday watching from St. Polten in Austria. Man, imagine we did a world tour. Like, honestly, a world tour would be incredible. And very expensive. And I'm not sure it would ever end. But it'll be fun. Like most things in life. But look, let's pull the map off here. And I'll say, look, it has been a struggle. It's been a struggle this season. As United fans, we came into this season with so much. It wasn't unjustified optimism either. Finished third last year, won the League Cup. We got Onana, we got Højlund, we got Amrabat. Yes, we could have done them all earlier. Yes, there were problems in the window, but we got a lot of decent players, and the squad looked significantly better. And then it's all gone to pot. Game against Wolves, start the season. Could have and probably should have been a point to Wolves, if not more. Then we lost. And we beat Forest after coming back from 2-0 down. And we've lost, and we've lost, and we've lost 6 out of 10. It's a good start to the season. United need a win tomorrow against Brentford. Do I want United to play in a low block 4-5-1 with a double pivot for the rest of the season? Nope. Do I think it's needed against Brentford? Yep. That defense needs protecting right now. We need 2 midfielders in there. Get Amrabat central. Play whoever else fullback, but just not Amrabat. Let him do his job centrally. We need that presence. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Even when the chips are down, you're all here. Proper. Not these fair weather United fans that come in when United are winning. And right now, we're not winning much. Look, I'll be here tomorrow with my match reaction. I might be here later on today with another video if I really feel there's a talking point that's worth discussing in a short 10-minute video. If not, maybe I'll go live tomorrow morning for the game. Maybe not. Anyway, have a cracking weekend. If you're in the UK, it's hot as hell. It's not quite sunny there yet, but it will be later. Much love anyway. Take it easy.